Morning everyone. Yes, very good morning. Shall we begin? Today's topic is the information sharing, how we can share the information or how we can make the information comfortable with all the person. That is sharing of information. This is the stage number 4. After the planning, information gathering, information analysis, next part is sharing the information so that other persons will also share, will also get up what they want to do, what they ask from and how it is happening. That is information sharing. So one is the introductory level, one is the advanced level. There is a teacher librarian directed, student directed. Then next is the present findings. The students present the information to a partner or a small group within the school that may represent the classes, that may represent the group, that may represent or demonstrate the presentation skills with an attention to format, to purpose, what is the guidance, what is the main capability, how it will occur, what is the main motto, what is the main volume, visibility of the rehearsals. So that's present the findings on this, and then this is from the teacher and the teacher librarian point of view. When we talk about the student point of view, students present to individuals, groups, classes within the schools, and individuals or groups out of the school. And they also demonstrate increased presentation skills for sharing information with attention to format, with a purpose and audience by also including pitch, enunciation, pace, handling of the questions, and technical understanding. What are the various parts, or what are the various criteria by which we can fulfill, by which we can handle the questions, by which we can make the technical understanding. Yes, right. So next part is after findings. Next part is demonstrate the appropriate audience behavior. The student demonstrate appropriate social skills. What are the various skills that is carried out to demonstrate what are the various benefits that will be given to the user, to the society, as well as the end users. Then students also ask the appropriate questions. They also respond in written form to the presenters, and teacher and the students make positive, constructive elements or comments. So whatever the data that they use, so they make the positive comment, they make the constructive comments over here. The student demonstrate empathic listening behaviors. What are the various listening behavior that will be used and that will be carried out for the reasonability of the content that makes the content available whenever it is possible. And teacher and the student make the positive constructive comments, and student also demonstrate the empathic listening behaviors, demonstrate an ability to develop the follow-up inquiries, whatever the follow-up inquiries that will be concluded. Then student also respond to or summarize in a presentation, that in the paragraph form or in the point form, anything that may be in the bullet form also. So they demonstrate the appropriate behavior, demonstrate the empathic listening behavior, demonstrate or summarize the presentation in a paragraph or the point form. The next is the review process. So students and the teachers reflect on sharing activities, noting specific ideas for improvement, and students also reflect on sharing activities, noting specific ideas for transfer to other conditions, to other situations. That is also a review process. That is also one of the, we can say, the behavior that demonstrates how the things will happen, how we can respond to the presenter, how we can respond to the appropriate questions. The next is stage number 5 is the evaluation. That is again divided into two parts, introductory level and the advanced level. And introductory level, there is the teacher librarian directed. In the advanced level, that is the student directed. So when we evaluate the product, the teacher also uses the pre-established evaluation criteria throughout the research stages, throughout the risk skills, throughout the procedures. And students are also provided with the tools for peer and the self-evaluation. In terms of teacher, they evaluate or they uses a variety of the evaluation criteria throughout the research stages Yeah, the research stage may be how to make the connections, how to evaluate the material, how to use the skills, procedures, also predetermine the content, whatever the content that is taken out. Then evaluate research procedures and the skills. So teacher assess the extent to which the research plan was followed up, was given up, and they also takes part in conferencing with the peers, teacher or teacher librarian using criteria such as the time management. Yeah, time management is also one of the good technique that follows with the teachers. Yeah, that is applicable to the teacher as well as the student, we can say. Group participation skills and the cooperative learning skills. And teacher assess individual and group participation activities also. They individually or with peers identify and evaluate the research sets. They also takes part in conferencing with the peers, teacher or teacher librarian. Then review process. Class select one or two suggestions for improvement to apply to other research activities. They also include various strength strategies for the improvement. They make the connections, reflections, complete research process, noting the areas of the strength and the ideas for the improvement. We also make the reflect on. They also reflect on the complete research process, noting about the specific ideas for transfer to the other situations. That is also the review process. That means how they can review the concept, how they can review what has done, what is going to be done, or what will be done. Yeah, in the past, in the future, and the present also. Don't forget about the present. That I agree with you, but yes, that may be one of the scenarios. And with the two teacher and the student that may sit together to complete the process. Next part is the Alberta Education Programs of Study. 5 parts: focus, social studies, science, mathematics, language arts. Stage 1 is the planning. Social studies says understand the question, public problem, develop the research questions and the procedures, whatever the research question that is followed up, whatever the language that they use now. Identify the issue, identify alternatives, identify the problem, understand the alternatives. These are all comes into the plannings. So plan out something. Plan out what to be done. Why to be done, to whom it is done. So understand the question or the problem, develop the research questions and the procedures, identify the issue, identify alternatives, identify the problem, or understand the problem. And stage number 2 is information retrieval. Gather and organize the information. That is also in the case of the social studies. Then in the science it is for the research activity. How we can retrieve by using the research. Research about any topic that is considered. Then stage number 3 is information processing. Interpret the information, develop a conclusion or solution to synthesize the data, to synthesize the information. That may include with the reflection, that may include with the design, develop a plan. Then stage number 4 is information sharing. We can communicate very effectively. We can communicate in an easy manner, take the actions, carry out the plan. Stage number 5 is evaluation. Evaluate the decision. How we can evaluate, what is the main process. look back in the mathematics, and in science it is evaluate. So yes, just read it. Okay, very good. Now, any doubts anyone till here in the Alberta education? Yes, Joseph, tell me. In Okay, so in the case of stage one planning, what is the science or what is the main content in the science? Identify the issue, identify the alternatives. What are the various issues? What are the alternatives that is available in the planning process? Understand the problem. What is the main problem? What is the main logic behind that? Yes, when I say about the planning, so that is in advance, we can say. Identify the issues, identify the alternatives. Any other doubts? In the last part, it is said that the evaluation is the criteria that evaluates for the mathematics, evaluate for the science, evaluate for the rollback. Or the look back, we can say, not the rollback, look back. Then chapter number 5 is before research, teacher preparation. So that was inexperience in integrating the research activities into the curriculum that will find experience, that will find useful in this scenario in their planning. So how to plan a research activity? What are the considerations or the guidelines that is required for a research activity and a sample research activity unity plan? This is the figure that says about the planning is a way of caring because it minimizes the risk. Now these are the three stages, three steps. Curriculum objectives, that is stage one, that is step 1. What must I teach? Step 2, what are their needs? Step 3, resources. What resources are available? So what is the curriculum syllabus? What is the need? What are the resources? And stage number 4 is research skills. And stage 5 is implementation. So there are 5 stages: curriculum, need, resources, research skills, and the implementation. So whatever the need of the customer, whatever the curriculum objective that we take a place, that is from a teacher point of view, but not, what must I teach? What is the main curriculum? What are the needs of the students? What are the resources that is available? What skills do I acquire? What research skill do I acquire? How we can implement them? What are the implementations? Right. So these are the various parts that will be discussed. That is how to develop, how to make the provisions with the 5 stages: curriculum, needs, resources, research skills, implementations. So these preparation will be used for the planning, retrieval, processing, sharing, evaluation. Now, let's see what are the various steps that will be used to model the research, to model the stages that have proven to be successful when implementing an introductory level, that is a teacher-directed level research activity. So decide in which unit you will begin your research breakthrough. What is the main unit, or what is the main, we can say, the starting point of your research. Then decide on the scope and end product of the research activity. What is the main scope and what is the end point of this research activity? Then what research needs, what research skills will be stressed, will be used, why it is happened, why it is redefined at this point to take into account available resources, plan for use, plan the order in which the unit and the research activity will be taught, decide where the activity will occur, that is in the classroom, in the library, in the home, but in the where is the place. Then introduce the activity to the class as an integrated part of classroom studies. Monitor the students' work as they apply related research skills. What are the research skills that will be applied? how they consider or how they apply with the research continue. Then evaluate the students' work on an ongoing basis and determine the appropriateness and availability of the resources and the success of the research activities. That may also encourage what have to be done and what is to be done. Yes, till now what have we done, in future what is to be done. The next is the library research. So just wait for 2 minutes more. Now the next part is the library research. So shall we, yes. So students need to be taught about how to gather the information. Not just this is a task, but they are taught in a practical life what is the library research, how we can how they can assign, or how they can take the role, take the opportunity to gather the information. And they should be given, or students should be given, practice developing research questions by doing it as a class and proceeding to the students thinking of their own. And yes, there are two important steps that is carried out is compiling the questions, answer the questions. Compile means, yes, arrangement or the sequence of each and every question. So before the research, compile the questions, compile the pages, what are the various pages that will be included, so how we can note them, how we can make the practice by doing in the class and proceeding to the questions. And answer the questions in their own words, not the copied words, and make the notes in the point form also. Don't make the copied words or don't make a copy from any other place, so make the notes in the point form also. And by teaching students how to do written assignments, both the research and the writing, parallelism will be eliminated. So when we combine, when we do the written assignments, both the research activity and the writing purpose may be eliminated, maybe destroyed. The next is the planning. Choosing a subject, develop the questions for the research, who, why, what, where, when, how. This all come under the planning. The next is identifying the source of information. What are the various sources of information that will be used? How we can gather the information, how we can carry out the information. And locating and gathering information. Locate the information, gather the information. That information may be printable information. That information may be the non-print information. What we say about the locating and gathering, that yes, say finding out and gather the information from the user. Then reading, that may include the interpreting, that may include the related or the main idea. Then relationships, cartoons, pictures, charts, table, graphs, maps. So these are the reading skills, these are the interpreting skills, these are the writing skills. Now listening and viewing, that is also interpreting, point of view, purpose of the message, what is the main purpose, what is the main message, then bias or the slant. That may be a slantic, that may be a biased form. Then organizing information, how we can organize the information in a systematic form, how we can compile the information, how we can categorize, how we can classify, how we can give the sequence. Then note making or the note taking, either supply the questions orally and one has to write the answers. So answer to research questions written in the student's own words, not the copied words or in point form. Then webbing, mind mapping or the charting, that is also used for the organizing information. Then analyzing, evaluating and summarizing the information, that include develop conclusion, generalizations, make the decisions. When we say about analyzing, we can analyze, we can evaluate. After analyze of this, we can evaluate and summarize the information. And this checklist will be used for the guidelines and the considerations. Now the next part is how to compile the library research, how we can plan out by choosing the product, how we can gather the information, how we can locate, how we can organize that information. That may be a guideline, that may be a checklist, that may be a curriculum fit, that may be assignment, that may be a format, that may be evaluation. The assignment includes the curriculum, format, research procedures to be taught, evaluation criteria. The main purpose is to introduce, to review, to expand the information and the knowledge, to focus, that includes, for example, is general information, specific or subject specific, opinions, issue based. And students includes ability and the stages of development, learning preferences, social grouping, cooperative learning skills, the school library, other libraries. Yeah, these are the resources. I'm so sorry. These are the resources. That may be a school library, that may be a libraries or other libraries, that may be a teacher librarian, that may be other resource persons or other resource people that will be carried out with the community, with the resource concern with the other parts. Then goals is concept is to apply or perfectize research procedures. So anyone can apply or perfectize whatever research procedures to improve the decision making ability, to plan for a research, to work in a variety of the social situations, conditions, to support a personal opinion. What is a personal opinion? How we can support, how we can judge that personal opinion with the next configuration with the next part of the level. Then attitude includes develop an appreciation for the knowledge and the culture, recognize with a variety of the opinion exists, to develop the cooperative learning skills, learning part, and to experience the pride in creating a product desire to improve the future efforts, future attitudes, future concern, and to understand and value effective research procedures. The attitude also includes to appreciate the need for lifelong learning skills. So what else do you have for me? What all content that you need for this? So planning a research assignment that also include the research stages and the skills that involve the stages, that involve the steps for the simple research activity plan. Simple activity plan maybe the resource persons, maybe the outline, maybe the signpost that will be aware of what constituting a research activity. That also includes the planning procedures for the teachers and the activities for the students. That may be a simple activity, that may be a simple procedure, that may be a research activity, that may be a research stages. And most of the skills that they are using up, so they are using with a variety of the concerned persons, with a variety of the concerned people that we also approach in your first activity or the first research activity. And a cooperative planning form is provided in the appendix that is used for the research activity regardless of the level of the skills emphasized. So whatever the skill you emphasize, whatever the ability that you emphasize, that ability will be provided with the level of the grade, with the level of the research activity. The next is sample research activity unit plan that may be used with the purpose, how to support, how to make the concepts, what are the resources that is available with it. We can say that resources means